The cry no one was supposed to hear. The research station floated alone in deep space, far from any safe trade route. Its metal walls were dark and silent, damage from a recent battle. Red warning lights blinked slowly, like a dying heartbeat. Most beings believed the station was empty now. They were wrong. Deep inside the broken lower levels, where cameras no longer worked and oxygen leaked through cracked pipes, something small was hiding. 3 baby dragons pressed close together in the shadows. Their scales were dull and scratched, not shiny like dragon stories said they should be. Their wings were torn in places, burned by plasma fire. They were shaking. Behind them lay their mother. The Dragon Queen, once feared across entire star systems, was dying. Her massive body barely fit inside the narrow cargo tunnel. Deep burns covered her chest. Black blood pooled beneath her scales. Each breath she took was slow, painful, and weak. The babies could feel it. They did not need words to know. Their mommy was dying. One baby dragon lifted its small head. Its eyes were full of fear, not fire. It listened carefully. Somewhere far above, metal footsteps echoed through the station. Humans. The galaxy told many stories about humans. Most were not kind stories. Dragons remembered them as hunters, scientists, and soldiers. Humans captured dragon eggs. Humans sold dragon bones. Humans never listened. The baby dragons began to cry. Their voices were soft, broken, and scared. Not loud enough for machines to hear. Only hearts. Please, please don't hurt us, one of them whispered in a trembling voice. Mommy is dying, another cried. We will be quiet, the third begged. We promise. They pressed closer to their mother, trying to protect her with their tiny bodies. They knew it was useless. Humans were big. Humans had weapons. Humans never came alone, or so they believed. Several floors above, a human medic named Elias paused. He was not a soldier. His armor was light. His weapon stayed locked at his side. He was sent to search for survivors, nothing more. His team had already moved ahead, following orders, following scanners. But Elias heard something strange. It was not on any sensor, not on any screen. It was a sound, a cry. He stopped walking. Did you hear that? He asked over the comm. Static answered him. The connection was weak down here. Elias turned his head slowly. The sound came again, faint, almost lost in the hum of broken machines. It was not human, not animal either. It sounded scared. Every training lesson told him to report it, to call security, to wait. Instead, Elias took a slow breath and stepped off the main path. The lower levels were dangerous. Lights flickered. Steam burst from broken pipes. Warning signs flashed in alien languages. His boots echoed as he moved deeper into the dark. The cry came again. Please don't hurt us. Elias froze. That was a voice. A child's voice. His heart started beating faster. No one was supposed to be here. The station was marked hostile. Dangerous life forms reported. But fear did not sound like danger. He reached a broken door leading into a collapsed cargo tunnel. The metal was bent outward, as if something large had forced its way in and then never left. Inside, it was dark. Elias slowly removed his helmet and placed it on the floor. He unlocked his weapon and left it behind. If something waited inside, he did not want to look like a threat. Then he stepped forward. The baby dragons saw him. Their cries stopped. 3 pairs of glowing eyes stared from the darkness. Tiny claws dug into the metal floor. Their bodies trembled as they moved in front of their mother, spreading their small wings wide. The smallest dragon spoke again, its voice shaking. Please go away, it said. We are not bad, another whispered. Mommy is hurt, the third cried. Elias could see her now. The Dragon Queen. Even dying, she was massive. Her chest rose slowly, then fell. Her eye opened just enough to see the human standing there. Her body tried to move. It failed. Elias felt fear wrap around his chest like ice. One movement from her could end him. One breath of fire. But none came. Instead, the babies cried louder. Elias raised his empty hands. I won't hurt you, he said softly. His voice echoed in the tunnel. I promise. The Dragon Queen watched him. The galaxy would have called him foolish. The galaxy would have called him dead. But Elias took one more step forward and knelt. Behind him, alarms suddenly began to scream. Security teams were moving fast. They were not here to save anything. They were here to erase it. And deep in the dark tunnel, a single human made a choice that would shake the galaxy forever. The human who did not run. The alarm screamed louder now. Red lights flooded the tunnel, flashing like warnings from a dying world. Somewhere above, heavy boots hit the metal floor in fast rhythm. Armed units were moving in. They were trained for one thing only: elimination. Elias heard them clearly. He knew what protocol said. He knew what humans always did when dragons were involved. He knew he should run, but he didn't. He stayed on his knees. The baby dragons did not understand the alarms, but they felt danger. Their small bodies pressed tighter against each other. One of them stepped forward, placing its tiny body between Elias and its mother. "If you hurt her," the baby said softly, "we will fight." Its voice cracked at the end. Elias swallowed hard. "You don't have to fight," he said quietly. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." The Dragon Queen watched him with one half-open eye. Pain burned inside her chest. Every breath felt like fire and stone crushing her lungs. She had faced fleets. She had burned cities. Yet this weakness, hurt more than any weapon. Humans had done this to her. Her mind screamed at her to kill the human, to protect her children, to end the threat. But her body would not obey. Elias slowly reached into his medical pack. He moved carefully, slowly, so slowly that even the babies could see every motion. "I can help," he said, "but only if you let me." The largest baby dragon growled, a small, weak sound meant to be fearsome. "No tricks," it warned. Elias gave a small nod. "No tricks." He scanned the queen's wounds. Deep plasma burns. Internal damage. Massive blood loss. No standard field kit was meant for a creature like her. But pain was pain. Blood was blood. And life was life. Behind them, the tunnel shook as something heavy slammed against a sealed door. "Contact confirmed." A voice echoed through the metal. "Dragon life form detected. Orders are clear." Elias's hands tightened. He placed a medical patch on one of the queen's burns. It sizzled as it bonded to her scales. The Dragon Queen flinched, her massive tail twitching violently. The babies cried out in fear. "I'm sorry," Elias whispered quickly. "I know it hurts." The Dragon Queen stared at him. No human had ever apologized to her before. Her eye focused on his face. She searched for lies, for fear, for hatred. She found none. Another explosion shook the station. Final warning. The commander's voice boomed over external speakers. "Human medic, withdraw immediately. Target will be destroyed." Elias did not turn around. "She's dying," Elias said loudly. "She's not attacking anyone. She's a weapon," the commander replied coldly. "Step away." The smallest baby dragon screamed. "She is our mommy." The words echoed through the tunnel. Silence followed. Even the soldiers hesitated. Elias felt his chest tighten. He knew this moment mattered. One wrong move, one wrong word, and this place would become a grave. He stood slowly and turned just enough for the cameras to see him. "If you fire," he said, voice shaking but strong, "you'll kill children." The response came fast. "Orders stand." The Dragon Queen felt something strange stir inside her chest. Not rage, not fire, fear, not for herself, for him, for her babies. She forced her broken body to move. Pain tore through her spine. Her claws scraped against metal as she dragged herself forward, placing her massive body between Elias and the tunnel entrance. The babies cried and pressed against her. Elias looked up at her in shock. "You don't have to," he began. Her eye locked onto his, and for the first time in centuries, the Dragon Queen spoke to a human. Not with fire, not with threat, but with a weak, broken voice. "Why do you stay?" Elias answered without thinking. "Because someone has to." Outside the tunnel, weapons powered up. Energy levels spiked. The air itself seemed to vibrate. The Dragon Queen felt her strength fading fast. But something else was waking up deep inside her. Not fury, resolve. If this was the end, it would not be silent. The baby dragons pressed against her heart, crying softly. And as the soldiers prepared to fire, the Dragon Queen drew one deep, painful breath. Not to attack, but to protect. When fear pulled the trigger, the shot came without warning. A blinding flash filled the tunnel, followed by a thunder-like crack. The metal walls screamed as energy burned across them. The air turned hot and sharp. The baby dragon screamed. Elias did not think. He moved. He threw himself forward, arms wide, placing his body in front of the baby's. The blast struck the dragon queen's side instead. Her massive body shook violently as she roared in pain. The sound was not anger. It was agony. Her roar echoed through the station, shaking loose metal and breaking weak lights. Dust fell from the ceiling. The soldiers outside the tunnel froze. That was a warning shot. The commander said over the speakers, his voice tight now. Next one kills the target. The babies cried harder, pressing their faces into Elias's chest. Their tears burned like acid on his skin. She's dying. Elias shouted back. She can't even stand. She doesn't need to stand, the commander replied. She only needs to live. The dragon queen's breathing grew rough. Blood flowed faster now, dark and thick, soaking the floor. Her heart struggled to keep up. She felt it. Her time was running out. She lowered her head, touching her forehead gently to the floor near Elias and her children. A farewell. The babies felt it instantly. No, one cried. Don't sleep, another begged. Mommy, please, the smallest screamed. Something inside the dragon queen cracked. Not her body, her restraint. She remembered the past. She remembered skies filled with fire, eggs stolen, children taken apart in labs, humans standing behind glass, watching dragons bleed and calling it science. She had sworn never to trust them. Yet here was one human, bleeding, shaking, terrified, who still refused to leave. Her eye focused on Elias. He was injured now. Shrapnel cut his arm. Blood ran down his sleeve. Still, he pressed medical gel onto her wounds, hands shaking but steady enough to help. You don't have to die, he whispered. Please stay with them. The dragon queen felt something rise in her chest. Not fire. Power. Ancient power. The kind that came only when a queen chose her final stand. Outside the tunnel, scanners went wild. Energy spike detected, a soldier yelled. That's impossible, another replied. She's too weak. They were wrong. The dragon queen lifted her head. Slowly, painfully, her body trembled, but her wings spread wide, scraping against the tunnel walls. Cracks formed as ancient scales glowed faintly red. The temperature rose. The babies gasped. Elias backed away instinctively, shielding them again. Easy, he whispered. I'm here. The dragon queen turned her head slightly toward him. This will hurt, she said in a low, broken voice. For all of you. Then she roared again. This roar was different. It was not loud. It was deep. It passed through metal, through bone, through fear itself. Across the station, systems failed. Weapons shut down. Soldiers dropped to their knees, gasping as pressure crushed their lungs. The commander screamed into the calm. Fall back. Fall back. Too late. The station's outer hull glowed as ancient dragon energy surged outward, sending a signal far beyond the star system. A signal only dragons could feel, and only rulers could answer. The dragon queen collapsed forward, her strength finally gone. Elias caught her head before it hit the floor. Stay with me, he begged. The babies crawled on her neck and shoulders, crying softly, pressing their tiny heads against her scales. Outside, silence returned. No boots, no weapons, only fear. The soldiers were gone. Elias looked around, breathing hard. The tunnel was ruined, cracked, barely holding together. His hands were soaked in blood, hers and his. He checked her pulse. Weak, very weak. She needs real help, he whispered. Above them, far across the galaxy, something massive shifted. Ancient beings opened their eyes. Dragon lords, dragon mothers. They felt the call, and they were coming. Elias did not know this yet. All he knew was that he was kneeling beside a dying queen, surrounded by her children, with no escape left. And for the first time in human history, a dragon had chosen to fight for a human. The call that froze the stars. The station was too quiet. No alarms, no gunfire, No voices. Only the slow, painful breathing of the Dragon Queen filled the broken tunnel. Each breath sounded weaker than the last, like time itself was slipping away from her. Elias pressed his hand against her neck, feeling her pulse. It was fading. "Stay with me," he whispered again. "Please." The baby dragons clung to their mother, their small claws digging into her scales. They had stopped crying now. Fear had drained their voices. They watched Elias with wide eyes, as if he was the last thing standing between them and the end. Far away from the station, deep in the dark between stars, something ancient stirred. The Dragon Queen's call traveled faster than any ship. It was not sound. It was not light. It was blood and bond and royal command. Across forgotten worlds, ancient dragons lifted their heads. Old queens woke from long sleep. Dragon lords paused mid-flight, wings freezing in space. One truth echoed through them all. A queen is dying. On the station, Elias did not know any of this. He only knew that his supplies were running out. His hands shook as he applied the last medical patch. It barely slowed the bleeding. "This won't be enough," he said quietly. The Dragon Queen's eye opened slightly. "You should leave," she said weakly. Elias shook his head. "I'm not going anywhere." "You will die," she replied. "Then I won't be alone," he said. For a moment, her eyes softened. Then the station shook again. Not from weapons, from space itself. The baby dragons cried out as a deep shadow passed over the broken lights. Elias looked up just in time to see the ceiling crack open. Something huge blocked the stars. A dragon ship. No, a dragon. Its body was larger than the station wing itself, scales black as space, eyes glowing like dying suns. It wrapped its massive form around the station without touching it, claws hovering with perfect control. Then another appeared, and another. Dozens. Hundreds. The void filled with dragons. Elias felt his breath catch in his throat. "Oh no," he whispered. The baby dragons felt it too. Their fear turned into hope. They lifted their heads and cried out, not in terror this time, but recognition. The Dragon Queen tried to move. Her body failed. A deep voice echoed through the station, not through speakers, but directly into every mind. "Who harmed our queen?" Elias felt pressure crush his chest. He fell to one knee, gasping. The walls groaned under the weight of dragon presence. Human ships nearby detected the energy spike and panicked. Across the galaxy, emergency signals exploded. Council screamed. Fleets changed course. A living dragon armada had appeared, and they were angry. Inside the tunnel, the Dragon Queen gathered her last strength. "Do not burn this one," she whispered into the void. The human stayed. Silence followed. Then another voice, older, heavier. A human stayed. Elias fell eyes on him, thousands of them, judging, measuring, remembering old wars. One dragon broke formation and lowered its massive head toward the torn tunnel. Its golden eye locked onto Elias. "You," the dragons said. "Why?" Elias swallowed. "They were scared," he said simply. "So I listened." The dragons stared at him for a long moment. Then it pulled back. Around the station, dragon fire dimmed. Claws relaxed. The crushing pressure lifted slightly. But danger was far from over. Human fleets were arriving. Weapons charging. Fear spreading faster than reason. Elias looked at the dying queen, her children clinging to her. He understood the truth now. This was no longer about saving a dragon. This was about stopping a war. And the next choice he made would decide who the galaxy would fear forever. The line between fire and blood. Space around the station turned bright. Human warships arrived in tight formation, their hulls shining with weapon lights. Cannons warmed, missiles locked. Commanders shouted orders filled with fear and pride. Across from them, the Dragon Armada did not move. They did not need to. Their massive bodies floated in silence, wings folded, eyes glowing. They were not afraid of human weapons. They remembered wars older than humanity itself. Inside the broken tunnel, Elias felt the station tremble again, not from damage but from tension. The baby dragons sensed it too. Their small bodies stiffened. One of them crawled onto Elias's shoulder, pressing its warm forehead against his neck. "They are scared," the baby whispered. Elias closed his eyes. "So am I." The Dragon Queen's breathing was shallow now. Every breath looked like it might be her last. Her children stayed close, refusing to let go. Outside, a human admiral's voice echoed across all channels. "Unknown dragon forces withdraw immediately. This station is under human jurisdiction." The response came instantly. "You stand on a queen's grave," a dragon voice thundered back. "Move or burn." Weapons powered up. Dragon fire ignited, lighting space like a second sun. One wrong word would end everything. Elias stood up. His legs shook. His arm burned with pain. Blood soaked his sleeve, but he stood anyway. He opened a public channel. "This is Elias Carter," he said, his voice rough but clear. "I'm a human medic on the station." Both sides froze. "I'm standing with a dying Dragon Queen and her children," he continued. "If you fire through me." Silence exploded across the comms. "Medic, stand down," the Admiral ordered. "That creature is not your concern." "She is a mother," Elias replied. "So are her children." The dragon closest to the station leaned forward slightly. "A human shields dragons," it said slowly. "Why?" Elias looked down at the babies. "Because they asked me not to hurt them." The baby dragons lifted their heads. One stepped forward and spoke into the open channel, its small voice shaking the stars. He did not run. Every system in the sector recorded that moment. Human crews stared at their screens in shock. Dragon warriors hesitated, ancient anger colliding with something new. The Dragon Queen opened her eye one last time. She used the final strength in her body, not to attack, but to bow her head toward Elias. "I name you," she whispered, shield of scale. Her heart faltered. Monitors screamed. No, stay with me." Elias shouted, pressing his hands against her chest. The babies cried out in terror. Dragon energy surged wildly. The armada roared as one. Fire built in thousands of throats. The human admiral screamed, "All ships, stop!" Elias shouted. His voice broke. "If she dies," he said, tears burning his eyes, "you will be killing the only reason they haven't already burned you." The dragons waited. Seconds felt like years. Then the ancient golden dragon spoke again. "Queen lives, barely." A massive claw reached into the tunnel, glowing with healing light older than human history. Energy flowed into the Dragon Queen's broken body. Her breathing steadied. The babies gasped. Hope returned. The golden dragon turned its gaze toward the human fleet. "This human chose mercy," it said. "Choose wisely. Weapons power down." One by one, across the stars, a truth settled in. This was no longer a battle of strength. It was a test of hearts, and humanity was being judged. When mercy became a weapon, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. Human warships floated in silence, weapons dark, crews frozen at their stations. Across from them, the Dragon Armada remained still, vast and endless, watching, not threatening, judging. Inside the damaged station, Elias collapsed to his knees beside the Dragon Queen. His hands trembled as he checked her pulse again. Strong, still weak, but alive. The baby dragons clung to her, crying softly now, not in fear, but relief. One of them reached out and touched Elias's face with a small claw. "You stayed," it said simply. Elias nodded, unable to speak. The golden dragon's voice filled the station again, calm but heavy. "Human medic, you stood where armies ran." Elias looked up slowly. "I just did my job," he said. A low rumble passed through the dragons outside. Laughter. Ancient, surprised laughter. "That," the dragon replied, "is why it matters." Across the galaxy, news spread faster than fear ever had. Recordings of the baby dragons' voices flooded public channels. Footage of Elias standing unarmed before a Dragon Queen played on every screen. Worlds watched. Governments panicked. People questioned everything they had been taught. The human admiral lowered his head on the bridge of his ship. "We were wrong," he said quietly. No one argued. Inside the tunnel, the Dragon Queen stirred. Color slowly returned to her scales. Her wounds closed under dragon healing light. She looked at Elias. Why protect us? She asked again, stronger now. Elias thought for a moment. Because someone once protected me, he said, when I couldn't protect myself. The Dragon Queen closed her eye briefly. Then she spoke words no dragon had spoken to a human in recorded history. You are under my protection now. The baby dragons repeated it proudly. Under our protection. Outside, the golden dragon turned its gaze toward the human fleet. The Queen lives, it announced. And her will is law. Human ships adjusted formation, not for attack. For respect. The golden dragon continued. This human is marked. Harm him, and you harm us all. A chill ran through every commander listening. But something else followed. Hope. Elias stood slowly. He looked small compared to the massive beings around him, but he did not feel weak anymore. The baby dragons climbed onto his shoulders and back, clinging to him as if he belonged there. The galaxy noticed. A symbol was forming, not of fear, of trust. The Dragon Queen lifted her head fully now. Send your message, she told Elias. Tell them what you saw. Elias opened the channel one last time. This doesn't have to be a war, he said. It never did. Silence answered him. Then one by one, voices replied, not orders, not threats. Agreements. Across the stars, fleets turned away. Dragon fire faded. Trade routes reopened. A new line was drawn in history. Not with blood, with mercy. And far away, in dark places that fed on hatred and fear, eyes watched. They did not celebrate. They planned. Because the galaxy had changed. And not everyone was ready for that. The day the galaxy learned mercy. The galaxy did not change all at once. At first, it whispered. Across star systems, beings watched the recordings again and again. The human medics standing unarmed, baby dragons crying, a queen bowing her head. Old beliefs cracked. Fear lost its sharp edge. But not everyone accepted it. In the dark council chambers of distant worlds, leaders argued. Some called the human a trick. Others called the dragons liars. Weapons were still built. Plans were still made. Change always scares those who rule by fear. At the broken station, life slowly returned. Repair ships arrived, not warships. Medical teams followed, human and dragon together. The Dragon Queen was moved carefully into open space where she could breathe freely beneath the stars. Elias stayed with her the entire time. The baby dragons never left his side. They slept against his chest, curled around his arms, clinging to him as if he were part of their world now. The galaxy saw it and remembered. When the Dragon Queen finally stood, the moment was broadcast everywhere. Her wings spread wide, scarred but strong. She looked older now, wiser. She was alive. She turned to the gathered fleets, human, dragon, and others who had come to witness history. Enough, she said. Her voice carried without effort. For ages, dragons were hunted, feared, broken. Humans were taught we were monsters. And we taught ourselves the same about them. She looked at Elias. One human listened. Silence followed. Then the Dragon Queen lifted her claw and pressed it gently to the metal floor. I declare a binding law, she said. By dragon blood and ancient right. The stars seemed to dim. No dragon shall be hunted again, she continued. No egg taken. No child harmed. And any who break this law, she said, eyes glowing, will answer to us all. Across the galaxy, ancient seals awakened. Dragon lords roared their approval. Human councils voted in shock and fear, and then, in agreement. The law held. Elias felt a small claw tug at his sleeve. The smallest baby dragon looked up at him. Are we safe now? It asked. Elias smiled, tears in his eyes. Yes, he said. You are. The baby dragons cheered. The Dragon Queen lowered her massive head until her eyes met Elias's. You will always have a place among us, she said. Shield of scale. He shook his head gently. I'm just a medic. Her lips curved into something like a smile. History will disagree. Years later, stories would spread. Of the day dragons chose humans. Of the war that never happened. Of the man who stood still when fire and fear demanded he run. Children, human and dragon alike, would learn one truth above all others. That the strongest thing in the galaxy was not fire, not fleets, not power. It was mercy, and it all began with a cry no one was supposed to hear.